welcome on into another episode of Oh So Curious. Well, DCU Daily on Oh So Curious. I gotta get that right one of these days. But hey, it's a packed show, and I'm back. Liz and John had you guys entertained and hopefully informed and educated on all the big developments in the world of movies yesterday. Today, it's gonna be myself and John, and then we have Bridget in the show as well. We will bring them in after we start up the show. But we got some news to get into. So some Harry Potter set images, the new show. There's some concept art that got leaked online. We'll talk about that. There's a Whac-A-Mole movie happening apparently. Okay, not only that, they're also casting for a Street Fighter movie, which might get Jason Momoa and Roman Reigns in it. That sounds interesting. There's a new footage of Superman flying from one of their big billboard ads. So we get another look at Superman flying in a way that we haven't seen in any of the trailers. So, you know, more flying footage. That's going to be fun. We also now know how the Emmy nominees are going to work for the Penguin. They've submitted their Emmy nominations. We're going to figure out what categories they're competing in and how all of that is going to work. And of course, we have to talk about, as you see in the title and the thumbnail, Alfred, you know, specifically Andy Serkis playing Alfred in the Batman, what he wants to see from his character and Bruce Wayne in the Batman 2, his one wish for the Batman 2. We're gonna get into that and so much more. To do that, let me find that Ryan Gosling intro and we'll get into the news and get things started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
Robert
You're
Downey.
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. And you're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right. Well, we are talking some Marvel today too. So probably not a ton of Doctor Doom, but maybe something connected to Doctor Doom because we do have some Fantastic Four news we got to dive into. Of course, my name is Daniel. If you are new to the show, the way things go is it is DCU Daily. We start off, however, talking about everything going on in the world of Hollywood, film and TV. It includes DC, it includes Marvel. And of course, you know, we're coming up on Memorial Day weekend, so Mission Impossible, Lilo and Stitch. We'll talk about those as well. And then we'll dive into more of the DC news proper. So it's going to be a packed show. Now, with that said, today I'm joined by not just John, but also Bridget. How are you doing today, Bridget?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. Different setup in a different room, but I'm so happy to be with you guys today to discuss all that is going on in the movie world.
Absolutely. Well, we're happy to have you on. I mean, you were on last week. It was a packed show. Today's another packed one. And John, speaking of a packed show, you talked about like 6 trailers yesterday. I promise you only have to talk about 2 today. But
Great.
how was your day? And you were talking to us before the show started that you went and got yourself a pretzel at an AMC. So what movie did you see?
Guys, unless you go to the movies and with multiple people, don't get the pretzel because that thing is like that can feed a family of 4. And I know I'm fat, but like I'm not that fat. Like I still can only take so much, and that was a bit much. Now I have my Pellegrino because like my tum now doesn't feel that great. That's why I had a very bland dinner, but you know, you got to take it in stride and you just got to roll with the punches and make sure to not overstuff yourself and kill yourself. I was upset that they didn't have the A24 chocolate though, because that stuff is surprisingly good. So anyway.
Oh, that's quite the tour through your culinary tastes and experiences, I suppose. Anywho, well, we're gonna get going here with the news. Oh, by the way, we do now have today, the way we're doing things, we're gonna be able to bring in some of these comments on camera directly. There you go, from Caleb. Never underestimate pretzels, John. Thank you, Caleb. We appreciate that. Um, well, let's get rolling with the news, shall we? The first thing that I wanted to talk. Well, there you go. Thanks for popping that on screen there, John. We do use StreamYard for our shows. It's a great platform, and I think there's a free version of it. You guys can get a paid version. If you want to do your own podcast, you're welcome to do it on StreamYard. But let's get things started by talking about Austin Butler and the new trailer for Darren Aronofsky's Caught Stealing. Now, of course, we've talked about this before because I believe they talked about this at CinemaCon, and we did get like some photos recently, but now we've got a trailer. It stars, of course, Matt Smith, that they say in the title there, in the headline, going full punk rock in the movie. It also has Zoe Kravitz in the movie. So I didn't have a chance to really see this trailer all too much. I kind of skipped across it just to see, like, what was in there, and so I won't be able to speak to it as much personally. But Bridget and John, did you guys get a chance to check this trailer out? And if so, what are your thoughts on this? Is this a movie that you would go see?
I thought you said Bridget. My bad. Wait, did you say Bridget first or me first?
Yeah,
Either of you guys go. Okay. We'll start with Bridget. Why don't you tell us what you thought about it?
Yeah, actually, I did just watch it before the podcast, and I had not heard of this movie, but I thought the trailer looked, for me, quite riveting. It had definitely got me intrigued. Kind of, it's more of like a thriller, and it's seems like, there's this whole premise with it's like this underground gangs and gang bosses, and he's just caught in the middle of it. At first, it talked about like a pet sitting a cat, so I thought it was gonna just turn into that kind of movie, but it looks a lot more interesting than that. And obviously Darren Aronofsky has a great resume, and to me it does look like a promising film, so you might catch me in theaters seeing this one. Also, I love Austin Butler, so I think it looks good.
You're muted, Dan.
Sorry, I was just saying, awesome, that's great. So, John, what are your thoughts on the trailer?
I mean, I have like a very iffy relationship with Darren Aronofsky. Like, some of his movies I like, but most of them I don't. So I don't know if I'm gonna see this. I mean, it looks okay. I mean, I do love Matt Smith. I think Austin Butler is a great, up and comer, but I don't know if this. I mean, I kind of like the vibe of it all, and Zoe Kravitz in there as well. But yeah, I'm just kind of, it looks okay. I don't know if I would go to a theater to see it, but it looks like an okay movie. I just I think my thoughts on the director might cloud my judgment a little bit. But even despite this, I think it looks like a good premise. It looks like an interesting, like, turn of events kind of movie, and let's hope it's less pretentious than The Whale. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
But Caleb Underwood being like, I do like The Wrestler. Yes, The Wrestler is quite good. I just realized Ben Shapiro is your profile picture. I just thought it was Joaquin Phoenix, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, when we're seeing it a little bit bigger than we usually see in the the usual YouTube studio.
Oh yeah.
Also, let's not have Austin Butler as Constantine. We already have one non-British person playing the character. Let's not add two in there.
Oh my
Let's
god,
get an
Matt
actual.
Smith looks insane in this movie. Holy cow. This is look, to me, Austin Butler, I don't know. Okay, Bad Bunny. All right, that's I can buy that. What I will say though is, like, the whole thing about Austin Butler doing these kind of movies, like he did what was it, the Bike Riders? Was
Yeah,
it the one with Tom Hardy?
Yeah.
Like, nobody went and saw that.
I wasn't. Yeah, it didn't look interesting to me.
I wanted to see it because I do like Jeff Nichols, but I just didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, and in general, it just seems like this guy's chasing prestige, but I mean, but like, maybe he's doing this whole thing at the expense of, I don't know, like, people not seeing his work. But then again, Robert Pattinson went through a period like that, so and now he's in the Batman franchise, and he's doing
Speaking
the
of
Odyssey.
Batman.
So Yeah. So my only thing is like, okay, well there you go. I'm sure people are gonna go see the movie for this scene
Yeah.
specifically. But as far as Austin Butler in general being the star of another movie that I feel like you just said, John, a lot of people will just wait to go see on streaming, which is unfortunate. But I mean, if you decide to go see it in the movie theater, August 29th is when it comes out in the theater. So, guys, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about Caught Stealing? Is this a movie that you would like to go check out for yourself in a movie theater? And do you think it's going to make any money? Or is it going to be the latest Austin Butler film that, well, nobody goes to see? But hey, we'll love to hear from you in the comments down below. If you're watching live, we really appreciate it. Hit the like button. We will keep the conversation going. The next thing that we have to talk about is, I feel like something that Bridget, John, and I can uniquely connect on because I feel like it's part of our generation. So let's talk about the Phineas and Ferb revival. In a world, let me introduce this properly. Go back to me. There we go. In a world where shows like Buffy are getting revivals, one can only say there's only 104 days of summer vacation and school just comes along to end it. So let's just go back to the world of Phineas and Ferb. And that's exactly what Disney is doing because, quite frankly, the data is there to support the fact that, this show is as popular as ever, despite the fact they haven't made a new episode in over 10 years. Well, until they make the ones they're working on now. But let's dive into what we have today, which is from Variety saying that the creators Dan Povenmire and Swampy Marsh share what to expect, guest stars, and they give us a first look. There was like a little bit of a sneak peek that we got. And I know you guys saw it, so we will talk about that in a second. But I want to kind of read through some of what they talk about in this article, right? Because, okay, so we know the show, it continues to be really popular, despite the fact that it's not been on air with new episodes in over 10 years. But a lot of people who grew up watching it are now basically, making this thing go viral on TikTok. It's one of the most watched shows on Disney Plus.
Yeah, like, I mean, Dan Povenmire has like a huge following on TikTok.
6.8 million.
Yeah, like I watch him. I'm subscribed to him on YouTube. I love watching Dan. Like, I'm like, he makes me want to go and rewatch the show. I didn't like watch it religiously, but I did watch a bunch of it, and it is a great show. And he's a wholesome man that you just want to see all the good things happen to him. So, yeah, I would say I'd watch it just because I love Dan Povenmire as a person.
Well, I mean, the data, like I said, right? One of the things I want to get into is you think about it. They already did 126 episodes in its original run. I'm sure most of us remember watching it on the Disney Channel. Then there was Disney XD. I think eventually they moved it to Disney XD. Then they did some spinoffs and stuff. None of the spinoffs did as well as the original show. So when, the creator was like, okay, we're going to work on something new now, one of the executives at Disney was like, hold on. Like, we've got numbers here for Phineas and Ferb that are kind of insane. Why don't we go back and do that? And here's some of the numbers, guys. Like, just look at it in the article here. I'm going to read off a little bit of this. So hang on with me here. It says, according to Disney's internal streaming data, the show has been streamed 650 million hours on Disney Plus globally to date. And then now they've got like their own live channels within Disney Plus, where they launched one with Phineas and Ferb, and basically you can just watch episodes on a loop. That is one of their most popular, live channels on there. According to Nielsen data, Disney found out that they have 12.6 billion hours of the show that has been watched across linear and streaming throughout the lifetime of the show. And then one other thing that I thought was really interesting is that they've ordered now 40 total episodes, and the first 2 episodes will debut on Disney Plus, on Disney Channel, on the broadcast network, or not the cable Disney Channel, and then the batch of 10, including the first 2 episodes, will premiere on Disney Plus on June 6th, and so I'm guessing that from then on the show is a Disney Plus thing. I mean, that must be the reason why they're doing this, because like they still make a shit ton of money on the on the franchise, from merchandise, from virtually everything they do, and to the point where the creator was like, look, there's a big like knockoff market out there for this, and if we don't make it, then somebody else is going to be taking advantage of all the merchandise. So Disney might as well, take advantage of the fact that this is still popular with people and make money rather than letting bootleg people do it. One other thing, little bit of detail, the intro for the first few episodes is gonna say there's another 104 days of summer vacation instead of There's 100. But then after the first few episodes, they're gonna switch back to the original sound. So it's gonna be a little tweaked at the very beginnings. But I'm glad that they're not gonna keep it.
Hopefully,
that way,
they get
so.
Bowling for Soup back.
No, it is. Yeah, the same band. Same band is doing it. It's the
awesome.
same exact thing. Absolutely. So let's kind of get into it a little bit, because obviously this is all the information that came out of this thing here. But Bridget, I'll start with you again. I'm sure you've at least heard of the show. You might have even grown up loving the show. So what are your thoughts on all of this information? I know we usually don't talk about like animated Disney Plus things or like just Disney Channel shows, but I feel like this is one we can all probably connect on. So what are your thoughts on the show coming back at a time when, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is getting revived? This is just the latest example of a show that was hugely popular back in the day, and they're bringing it back. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I'm the worst person to ask, because although it was definitely something on when I was younger, my parents actually got rid of our cable when I was like in 3rd grade because we watched TV too much. So I only could watch like PBS Kids from like the age of 9 onwards. But of course I was aware of the show. And I know kids in school would have like the Phineas and Ferb textbook covers, which I was kind of jealous of. And I knew the theme song from like camp and stuff. They would sing that a lot. So I know it is a very well-loved show. Unfortunately, I've only seen like a couple episodes. And I know like that Ashley Tisdale voiced Candace, I think her name was.
Ashley Tisdale, yes, she did voice Candace. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's the whole "what you doing?" I just that meme now. Like I still remember that.
Yeah, I know the memes, and like I am familiar. And like from what I watched, it was a good show. Sometimes it was like, I don't know, it was a little annoying to me, but like other times, I think I just really didn't get to watch it enough to really be a true lover. But I'm kind of excited for this. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is a second chance for me to finally kind of get into it again and kind of rewatch some of this and see like new episodes. I think it's also really smart that they are, seeing this trend and jumping on that wagon while they can. I think that's
it's like the whole strike the iron while it's hot kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
One quick thing I did want to address, because Manus Time was asking this question. Gumball has returned, and not Phineas and Ferb. As long as they don't do the Powerpuff Girls route and ruin things, we are fine. So the one thing that they mention here in this article, let me kind of quickly go up and show you the quote, right? So according to the creator of the show himself, he mentioned it. He's like, because people obviously have this concern about like, are they going to change things up for like the modern audiences and whatnot, right? So they're bringing back the entire writers' room that was involved in the original show. They're bringing back all the voice actors. Not only that, the Disney executive Marsh, I forget what her full name is here, and then Pavan Meyer, the creator of the show. The important thing was making sure that Disney wanted the same exact Phineas and Ferb as the original show. They didn't want to change it up. So he says that the great joy for me was when they came back and said, we're not looking for you to reinvent this or evolve it, just whatever you were doing, do more of those. That was really appealing to according to Marsh. So I mean, hey, that's they're gonna bring back exactly the same show, but Perry the Platypus. We're gonna get some more background on some of the characters as well. Ashley Tisdale, like one of the, like you mentioned, voice actors, she's back as well in there. So not only that, they are changing a few things. Like they added one more stripe to Phineas's shirt so he looks taller, even though he's actually not taller. So there you go, some more small details. But John, I want to come to you on this. What are your thoughts about the revival, and do you think this will last a while? 40 episodes already green lit. They had 126 in its original run.
I think I do think that this is definitely something that a lot of people will enjoy. I don't know if I will actually watch it, like realistically, but I mean, I have so much TV to catch up. We make fun of it every episode whenever TV is brought up. We're like, oh, I need to watch that. I need to watch this. I need to watch that. The fact that I managed to finally start watching For All Mankind is a miracle. I haven't even watched the new season of Doctor Who just yet, and I have a damn poster in my bedroom. So, like,
come on, man.
I want to say I will watch it because I do like the show when I was watching it, and it feels like one of those, like, very timeless kind of shows. So I do want to try to, but I realistically, I will probably not. But I do love the show. I like Dan Povenmire, and I do remember having fond memories of watching it way back when. It's just like I grew up, so I like stopped watching it after a certain period of time. But even then, great show, and I'll try to maybe watch an episode here or
Shocked.
there, but maybe not
I can't believe you
religiously.
stopped watching it, John. Sorry, shock face. The timing of that was perfect. Sorry, I'm just just
What?
visuals. No, as you said, I stopped watching it. Like this shot comes up on screen. It's just
Oh.
Shocked Pikachu.
yeah. No, like here's the thing. Like I'll be honest with you too. I didn't watch the entire 126 episodes, right? I fell off of it at one point because, especially on the back end of its run, they did move it to Disney XD, I believe, because I don't know, like I guess more animation lived on Disney XD. So, and it got to a point where you're like, how many different ways can you? I don't. What's the saying? Like, cut an onion, skin it. Okay, whatever the animal you want to skin, I suppose. But there's only so many ways they can go about it. I mean, they were expanding the backstories of some of the characters and stuff, but ultimately, I feel like it got a little repetitive in some ways. I hope that they're going in new directions now that the show's coming back. I like that the artwork is very seamless. It's kind of like with SpongeBob, or unlike SpongeBob, where you go back and watch like season 1 and you see how the way they draw SpongeBob and Patrick and everything evolves over time. This show, you can clearly tell, like they look exactly the same. Some of the musical episodes were nice. I don't know how many more of that we're gonna get. It looks like we're getting some music, of course. Or they did have music pretty consistently anyway. But we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, Perry the Platypus, or Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. We're gonna get all of that back, guys. So let us know in the comments what you think about it. I think like we've talked about this for long enough, but a few other comments. King of the Hill also getting a revival. Yes, I think Steven, whenever he's in here, he asked about it. And yeah, you do, Caleb, need to watch everything because there's just so much to watch out there. And Manus Time saying, "Is For All Mankind that good, John? I have Apple TV Plus, and my goal is to discover more shows."
Yeah, it is
Okay.
good. I took a bit of a break when I was building my PC,
Yeah.
but I do need to go back to it. Yeah.
Here's what I will say for all. I mean, I was gonna call you For All Mankind. Here's what I will say, Manos Time. And by the way, Enterprising joining the chat. Hello, Enterprising. What's good, my peeps? What's good with you? I was just gonna mention Manos Time. Here's a few shows you must watch on Apple TV Plus. For All Mankind, top of the list. Foundation, Silo. Definitely check out Slow Horses. Those are, what is that? That's already like 4 at least. Most of their movies suck. I hope The Fountain of Youth is good. With John Krasinski and Natalie Portman and Isaac Gonzalez and Stanley Tucci and a million other stars. But I don't know, John. There's those are just like a handful. There's what's the one with Idris Elba? Have you seen that one yet, John? The one is it Flight? I think it's called, or maybe it's the one where he's on.
I don't know that one.
He's like a crisis negotiator, and he's on a plane that gets hijacked, and he has to somehow like help, obviously like sort out the situation. You guys must know in the chat, like that show's actually coming back for another season. Hijack, yes, Manos Time knows this one. Yeah, Hijack is also great, which I don't know how they're gonna do with season 2. It's like, is he gonna be on a train and it gets hijacked, or like is he gonna be on another plane, or is it not gonna be Idris Elba? We'll find out. Those are only a fraction of the amazing stuff, and that's only just the sci-fi shows. I like a lot of sci-fi, but they have a lot of good drama on there as well. Shrinking is amazing. Ted Lasso is amazing. I'm sure you've seen Ted Lasso already. For All Manos Time, that's a good one, Caleb. So okay, but Phineas and Ferb, guys, let us know in the chat what you guys think about the revival. Let us know in the comments what you think about the revival. You got a fresh haircut, Enterprising? That is awesome, man. Chill day on a hot day. That is perfect. It's a little stormy where we are in the Northeast, but I hope you are having a great, amazing day. Figure drawing is here. Okay, all right. So let us know in the comments what you thought about the Phineas and Ferb news. Right now, we're going to move on to talking about some Marvel news. So let's kick things off by talking about, well, we have to get into, of course, the Fantastic Four first steps. There's more and more marketing coming out. Today, Fandango put out an exclusive image of the movie, The Fantastic Four. They also put one out for Superman. So, they're not playing one side, they're playing both sides. But John, we're going to start off by talking about the Marvel.
So they always come out on top.
There you go. Thank you. But the Fantastic Four first steps. I want to start there, John. So let's dive into it. The image they put out here is of them within, I assume, is their spaceship. It doesn't look like they have artificial gravity on this thing. I guess, but it does look like it's meant to be like when they're on the ground, like on Earth, you can walk around. So I guess we'll see if this is the same ship that they join the 616 universe in or not. So we'll see. But what are your thoughts on this image, John? We've seen a little bit of this in the trailer already. These are the spacesuits. Pedro Pascal and Joseph Quinn. We know Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic. What do you think? The second comment here, by the way, says Summer of Superman. So, I mean, hey.
It looks fine. It looks fine. There's
Yeah.
not really much to say. It looks like an interesting little picture.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot. It's fantastic. Thank you, right, dude. It is fantastic.
Say that again. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic. There you go. I just want to say hello to Right Dude in the chat, and of course we have Figure Drawing in the chat as well. Thank you guys for joining in. We already been talking about a couple of things. If you guys want to rewind, you can do that, or you can just stick around. We've got DC news coming up in a little bit, and as you can tell, we're actually be able to bring in your comments a little more easily nowadays. So, Manus Time saying I love Pedro, but I still can't see him as Reed Richards. Movie might still be great though. Yeah, you know what? Agreed. He's gonna have to earn that, right? Mr. Fantastic, he's definitely an off type casting, kind of like maybe some people might say Man of Steel. Henry Cavill was a little off type in some ways, but we'll see. We'll see how good he is. Now, speaking of the Fantastic Four, John and Bridget, there is some new footage that they released, which has now given us a look at their emergency bracelets, and I wonder if those bracelets are just because, you know, the mayor of Gotham is calling, or Zordon needs their help, or it's some other, you know, entity in their universe that actually needs help. This was part of the NBA Western Conference Finals promotional work that they've been doing, so we get to see a look at. They all have these bracelets. They look slightly different, or maybe that's just the camera angle. I don't know. One of them looks brownish gray. The other looks blue or gold. I hope this is not a blue gold dress situation, but anyway. Here's the promo, and you could see some of their footage as astronauts. We've seen some of this in the trailers. He's like, okay, we get that. And then, you know, they're doing that whole Beatles thing, and then all of their watches ring at the same time, and they look like those old Casio computer watches. And of course, we see more of the Fantastic Car, and some of this footage we've already seen. Herbie's cooking, and, you know, you got the dinner.
Marvel's cooking with this trailer. No.
Hey, all right. Well, but what do you think? I'll start with you, Bridget.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
That is true. Okay. Well, but Bridget, your thoughts on this teaser, especially the whole watches situation. It looks like that's their first alert system. I don't know who's on the other side of it. Maybe it is Zordon. But what are your thoughts?
It's funny. I don't know why. Maybe this is like totally wrong, but it's kind of giving me like Power Ranger vibes.
That's
exactly
Zordon, right? Like he's like, it's like that's my
yeah. But didn't they have little things on there? I thought they did. Maybe I'm wrong.
They did
have like I thought they did, and then
yeah, totally.
Yeah, and then I think also this cut screen thing where you'd see like each Power Ranger. So I don't know. That's what it's making me think of. And I love the Power Rangers growing up, so I kind of like that they're kind of having this element. It does seem very like superhero. So I think it's kind of cute. But yeah, they do look very dated, but maybe to fit that kind of time period. Yeah, kind of funny.
I don't understand the reference, John, to the emergency watch thing with Josh Trank jokes. I don't get it, but maybe you know. But anyway, John, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? Like, what's going on with these
Emergency Watch?
watches?
Isn't that like a YouTuber or something?
I think that is a YouTuber. I just don't know what the Josh Trank jokes are. Somebody explain.
Because he made a terrible Fantastic Four movie.
Maybe that is what it is. Anyway, John, your thoughts on this new footage?
Looks good to me.
Awesome.
Not really much to say.
Cool.
The watches look cool. Like that's very retro futuristic. I like that, but
like I mean,
not
these are the watches. They're like apparently, you know, they got called out of their video shoot or photo shoot. That's very Beatlesque on that whole platform situation. Noel is looking forward to the movie as well as Superman. Hello, Noel, in the chat. Well, moving on from the Fantastic Four, let's talk a little bit about the Punisher. Now, John, I know you might be a little more interested about the Punisher because you are a fan of
Yes.
Frank Castle. So, of course, we have a new Disney Plus special presentation coming in, which were a thing of the past until I guess they brought him back because Kevin Feige's like, they actually worked well and let's do more. So John Bernthal is writing, producing, and starring in his own Punisher special presentation. We now know, according to one of the scoopers, I believe, that there's maybe we're gonna get a female like crime boss villain in the movie, or in the what do you want to call it? A movie? Is it a movie? Is it a TV movie? Maybe that's the closest thing that it comes down to.
Streaming special.
A streaming special. So Daniel Rickman was mentioning that while of course the plot details are under wraps, and Brad Winderbaum, who's the head of Marvel Television, has been talking about it, and we've even seen John Bernthal talking about it when he was promoting The Accountant 2, and of course Daredevil Born Again season 1. The villain in this new thing might be some like a female crime boss, which obviously, I mean, you would imagine maybe it's Kingpin's wife, or it could be something completely different. According to the scooper, the female crime boss villain, I mean, is going to be the primary antagonist of the show. And in the comics, there's the character of Manucci, or Manucci. That could be possibly it. But John, I'd like to get your opinion on this. Where do you stand on the idea of the direction this show is potentially going to go in? And do you think it would work? Or is this all just a whole lot of lies, as it were, from?
I mean, after the middling reactions to the Born Again series, I'm kind of iffy. But if John Bernthal is writing it and he's like, I'm gonna make sure this is done right, I'm gonna make sure it's the best, then cool. I would love to see them maybe try to do Jigsaw again, because maybe it's like a different guy and he's more accurate. I don't know, but I feel like they really dropped the ball with that, and I want them to try and do it again. And it's the MCU; they can rewrite a whole. Oh yeah, that was non-canon. That was a dream. It was whatever. But on whoever they decide to get, whoever they decide the villain is, if this is true or not, I think it would be great. I mean, they're no stranger to female villains. The Netflix shows. I mean, you had Elektra, you had Black Mariah, you had Joy Meacham, Typhoid Mary. You had a bunch of really good female villains for these shows. So honestly, yeah, I think add her into the mix. Whoever they do decide to pick, if it's this character or another character, maybe someone original, I don't know. But I just know Punisher by John Bernthal, pretty fire, and I hope they don't fuck this up. But I mean, I've heard Werewolf by Night is the greatest thing ever, so there is that too. And the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Yep. Well, we now know that this show or this TV movie is coming out, what is it, next year at some point, I imagine. Probably after Daredevil Born Again, which is meant to premiere in March. So there's that. But Bridget, I don't know if you are a fan of this show, or when I say show, I mean Daredevil, because that's where we have seen the Punisher already, especially returning in Born Again and now getting his own special. Is this something that excites you? And then also, is this one that you would be interested in, considering maybe the villain is now going in a different direction than I guess anything that most people might have expected? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really only know the Daredevil from the movie with Jennifer Garner years ago. And I actually don't even remember. Maybe he was in this. I honestly, it was so long ago, I don't remember. So I'm not a huge fan of the Punisher, because I haven't really watched much of the stuff. But just reading through this, I feel like it's, I don't know, the whole crime villain, crime boss kind of makes me think of a little bit of when we watched the Penguin and Sophia, and I really liked that dynamic. So I feel like if they kind of incorporated something similar, I think that sounds really cool, because I feel like it worked a lot there.
No, it's gonna be hyper violent. I mean, John, that's the brand of Punisher that John Bernthal likes, and that's what he's known for. So I bet you it's gonna be very violent.
Yeah.
Thomas Jane did a great job back in the day as the Punisher, from that Fox era, which I think you mentioned that you're more familiar with. Um, Caleb says he's the Punisher. That's cool. Good for you, Caleb. Thomas Jane the Punisher was a pretty good film. Yeah, Kevin agrees. There you go. Marvel putting out less content is a good thing, Kevin. That is very much true. Hopefully they won't have 5 shows next year, but this will be a special presentation, so I don't know where it counts on their whole 3 movies and 2 TV shows quota for the year that they're going to try to stick to moving forward. But guys, let us know in the comments down below. Are you excited that we now have a bit of a better idea of what the villain of the Punisher special is going to be on Disney Plus, as well as, of course, they've got a new photo and some new footage from the Fantastic Four First Steps. They've got like those little morph what do they call those, like morphing bracelets where they get their alerts from Zordon, like whenever they are needed for help, or maybe the mayor of Gotham or whatever the equivalent of that is in their timeline. But anyway, let us know in the comments what you think about that. Right now we're going to move on to something a little bit different and more on the magical side, as it were, because well, you guys all know they're working on a brand new Harry Potter TV show, and that TV show is at least the amount of money they're putting into it, billions of dollars in building new sets, even building a whole entire functioning school for all the young actors in the show, so they don't even have to leave the Leavesden studio lot for Warner Brothers out in the UK. Well, we now have some leaked set photos, not set photos, actually, I should correct myself, some leaked concept art for the sets of some iconic locations that will be featured in the show that are, of course, part of the book. So we have to talk about that. To do that, of course, John and Bridget, let's dive into it. This show they're hoping will last somewhere between 7 to 10 seasons. We know this because they want to do at least 1 season per book. They might even decide to, split that up depending on if they go the same route as the movies did. And so if you go past all of the other extraneous details, the good stuff here are the photos, and that's what we're here for. So let's kind of load these up real quick. This is some concept art that was leaked out there. Now take it with a grain of salt, because this might not be entirely like real in the sense that this doesn't come from some really official source. So, take it with a grain of salt. But this looks to be a first look at the dining hall at Hogwarts, and it looks as big, if not bigger, than the ones that we got in the movie. Then we go to the next one here, some of the dormitory area for, I can't tell which of the houses this might be, and then we have another look at one of the hallways at Hogwarts as well, and the students are walking around. I can imagine that's maybe meant to be Harry Potter, Hermione, and Ron maybe in the front. And then Diagon Alley in all its living glory. That looks,
this looks like AI. This looks like AI. This does not look real. This looks like it was put into a generator, and this looks, even the person down at the bottom said the I think they meant Diagon Alley one looks it looks very, very AI. I know, like, people said, like, oh, the writing is, you can see it, like the fine wands thing, like it doesn't look bad, but sometimes you can refine that AI over and over and over again until you get the proper writing you want, or you can Photoshop it. So I don't believe this is real. It's just it looks too realistic to be concept art. It looks like something not real.
I agree.
Bridget, what are your thoughts? Do you think this looks like AI generated, or is
even
this
looking
real?
back to this, it looks like they just picked like 3 very random people to be the students.
I mean, in this image, it looks like, I don't know. Is that, no? Those are two girls and a dude. So I don't know. That can't be Ron and Hermione and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Unless, well, no, we're not gonna go down there. But anyway, so let's just for a second though, let's pretend this is real, right? Because we know studios nowadays have a huge presence on their lots with positions that are entirely AI based. Like throughout the whole strikes, on one end, the actors and all the crew members that were on strike, they were looking for AI protections. On the other hand, the studios were putting out new job descriptions for people they were looking to hire to do more AI, work and do programming and write code to provide more AI tools for studios to use in house. So it's very possible that they might be using AI to generate concept art for shows like this, and maybe have a starting point and then iterate on it using AI, because we have seen Marvel used AI in parts for their Secret Invasion intro. So it's not like we haven't seen AI already been officially used. So if these were real, like even if they are AI generated, let's suppose that could be still a real thing. Do these hold up to the quality and the wonder of the original movies, do you think? I mean, again, it's only concept art, so you can only portray so much because it's not gonna show you any emotion or like how they're gonna film any of it. But yeah, Bridget, do you think this holds up to the level of detail that you imagine reading the books and then what you've seen in the movies for comparison?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I feel like it looks already very similar to the original movie design. I feel like the Great Hall looks pretty much like the same Great Hall. I mean, a little, more glorified, but I don't know. I still feel like this all kind of looks a lot like what we saw in the movies. And I wonder if that's kind of what these feel a little more based off of versus someone having maybe just read the books and being like, oh, in the book it describes it like this. And maybe like the buildings are a little more twisted, or it just seems like they're kind of copying the original movies that we saw. And kind of, it just doesn't seem that different to me. The buildings seem very similar, similar color, design. It's doesn't really seem different at all, I think.
Yeah. I don't know how you would do it so differently because I'm not, and ignoring the fact like, oh, the movies did it perfectly. It's just like, I don't know how you would go in a different, you could go even more fantastical with it rather than grounded, but I don't know how you would make that work, because the reason why Harry Potter worked, it would like had that groundedness but also like fantasy, and there's a certain look to these old school like lavish castles and buildings that there's not much room for differences between how the movies did it and how they do it here. And so I think I think that's I mean, they're already going to be stuck. Like the movies are so iconic, even though some didn't follow the book as much as they should have been.
But the thing is, it's like there's going to be more people watching this show that only saw the movie and didn't read the books, and there will be people who read the books or read the books and watched the movies. So the first point of comparison is not going to be the books, even though in an ideal world it should be, because that's the source material. Most people will compare it to the movies. So I mean, the Man of Time question I think is very valid. So I think you were trying to maybe go in that direction, but do you think there'll be a huge difference, or are they going to try to establish its own identity, I guess, for this show versus the movies?
I mean, they can try, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. I guess it's up to them whether they ultimately decide to try and differentiate or try and kind of pick up off exactly what was done before with the kind of the same Gryffindor decor and all of that. It'd be interesting to see how they choose to do that differently. I would think the house.
I want to see if that whole hat that's lecture house for you, if it's going to be completely CG, or if it's going to be a little bit of like practical like puppetry like it was in the original movies. But hey, guys, these are the photos.
I mean, that's what the plan is. They're going to be like, we're going to do our own thing with it. It's like, then why do an adaptation?
Like Neil Druckmann, the creator of the Last of Us video games, is involved with the show. They're changing things in the show, and he's clearly doing. He's not only does it have his blessing, but he's like, I'm trying things a little bit differently. The show doesn't have to follow the game, and that's my decision as a creator. So now again, the parallel here would be J.K. Rowling being involved. We don't know how much she's involved in the show at all, other than just she has to sign off on all the stuff. But on a creative level, I don't know if she's involved at any of the designing, but there's a production design, how the stories are being written. I don't think she's in the writer's room necessarily. But you know what? Overall, the show is such a high stakes investment for Warner Brothers. They can't afford not to have this be as good, if not better, than the movies, because you can't have a show like for the amount of money they're putting into this, all the expansion work they're doing to the Leaves and Studios. I don't think they can afford for this to not work. Were you gonna say something? Add anything else to it, Bridget?
I was just gonna say, to be honest, might be a hot take. I just think this is like 20 years too soon. I still feel like Harry Potter was still too like recent. I still feel like there needs to be a big lapse in time before they put all the money and investment. There needs to be like more nostalgia, I think. I don't know. I just feel like the fact that like all the actors are still like, I don't know, to me it just feels like this is just too soon. And
They should have waited at least
yeah,
20 years, maybe 30 from the end of the series
yeah, it's
to
just,
when they started, because it's a tiny bit too soon.
I think that's the whole David Zaslav like wants these franchises to be the pillars of Warner Brothers Discovery, right? Like there's the 4 pillars of DC, but when it comes up to the pillars of Warner Brothers Discovery as a whole, you've got DC, you've got Harry Potter, you've got Lord of the Rings. I don't know who else. What else would be considered a pillar? The Property Brothers. I don't know, something like that. So, it's
Scooby-Doo.
no. It's, hey, you know what? Don't underestimate the popularity of the Property Brothers. But, anyway, figure drawing, premature crash grabulation. You know, that's the tricky part. But some of the people working on the show are the best folks at HBO, including the producers who worked on the Chernobyl miniseries. So they're bringing in some heavy hitters behind the scenes, and well, hopefully it pays off for them. So, well, I don't think they're like it needs to make $1 billion. TV show's not going to make $1 billion at the box office, Caleb. But anyway, we digress. Let us know what you think about these photos. Do you think they're real? And even if they're not real, how do you approach the whole idea of what can you change, what can you keep the same between the movies and then now what they're doing with the TV show? Because the TV show will have a lot to live up to, even, you know, if it's unfair, it'll get compared to the movies even more so than the book. So let us know in the comments, are you excited about Harry Potter? And I'm sure we'll get back to talking about it in the not too distant future as we get more updates about the show. Right now, we have to switch over back to the movies, because this weekend could potentially be, probably will be, the highest grossing Memorial Day weekend at the box office ever, because the bar that's previously been set is about to get obliterated. And that's simply not just because the movies that are coming out this weekend, but also the holdovers from the previous week. So to do that, let's bring in Bridget and John again. I want to start out by kind of reading through a little bit of this article, because I think it kind of lays the foundation for what kind of history might be.
Lays into the foundation
for what will be a history-making weekend at the box office, considering how the year started out with not a lot of movies making, you know, a ton of money. We're now, it seems like, in a part of the year where we're going to be breaking records. So Lilo and Stitch is now looking at making somewhere between $150 to $160 million at the opening weekend in North America. So the article here is already asking the question, will Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible help break the Memorial Day weekend box office record? And honestly, when you look at the numbers, I think the answer is quite simply yes, because they also compare the idea of Lilo and Stitch tracking for 150 to 160 to Moana 2, which was in the same range, but then it overperformed it, and then ultimately ended up over the course of a 5-day Thanksgiving weekend making $225 million right out the gate. Now, it's not a 5-day weekend, it's a 3-day Memorial Day weekend, or a 4-day, because like you count Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So it won't have 5 days, but even in 4 days, if it gets anywhere close to 200 million, that's huge. But even if you just count 3 days, 150 to 160, the previous Memorial Day weekend overall was 306 million. So that's already halfway there, like, of the total that it needs to beat. And adding to that, Mission Impossible, the Final Reckoning, is going to bring in somewhere between 75 to 85 million, which breaks the record potentially for the previous high for the opening weekend in Mission Impossible franchise history, which I believe was Fallout, opening to 61 million. So that's a big difference there as well. And if you look at the weekend that is trying to beat, the last time we established a record of 306 million was in 2013, and it was The Hangover Part 3, Star Trek 2, aka Star Trek Into Darkness, and Fast and Furious 6, and, you know, a lot of family. So whereas last year we had Mad Max, movie with Furiosa, which didn't do very well, and we had Garfield movie, which was the worst Memorial Day weekend in like 3 decades. So anything it does, it will be better than last year, but this could very easily, give us a number that's close to maybe even $500-400 million, because you still have Sinners out there, you have Final Destination playing, the new Avengers playing, aka Thunderbolts is playing. And then there's like a number of other smaller movies still in theaters. Minecraft is still out there. So having now established this whole, situation and given us an idea of the numbers, Bridget, do you think it will break the record this weekend? Do you think Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible will lead the way into breaking that record?
I think so. It's funny. I didn't even actually know that this movie, that the Lilo and Stitch movie was happening until like 2 weeks ago, but already like I'm really excited because I loved that movie growing up. I just watched it over and over on VHS. So I know that there's, I think, a lot of people in my demographic, both female and male, that have that nostalgia for this. So I think seeing it in live action is going to appeal to a lot of people. Even if they're only just finding about it now, I think it is going to draw a lot of people, and they're not wrong in having such a high projection. Yeah.
I mean, look, not only is it the domestic box office, because Lilo and Stitch might make another 125 million worldwide, like outside of North America. So it can open up to like close to 300 million worldwide. And then Mission Impossible, not to be outdone, while it might do a lot less domestically with like maybe an upwards of 85 million, internationally, Mission Impossible is set to make roughly 125 to 130 million, meaning even Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning can have a 200 million plus start, and that's with having already opened in Korea like last week and in a few other markets. So it's not like it's opening everywhere at the same time.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, like both of these movies are either sequels or remakes, but that seems to be what works for most of us. I mean, because it's something that we're familiar with. John, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this weekend will break that Memorial Day weekend record at the box office just in his sleep, or is it? Are these movies going to underperform, do you think? I think you might be muted. Oh no, I don't know if you're muted. Are you saying anything?
I am muted. Okay.
Okay.
I double muted myself. Whoops-a-daisies. Anyway, so I have a strong feeling they might not reach the highest levels that they're predicting. Like, I don't think Lilo and Stitch is going to make 160 million opening weekend. I don't think so. I mean, I could be proven wrong, and that's fine. But I think it'll maybe make 125 million, somewhere like 100 to 130, like at the most. It's still going to make a lot, but not as much as they're suggesting. And then your boy Tom Cruise, I don't think it's going to make what they're predicting either less, only because the last one didn't make that much. I know that was mainly because of Barbenheimer, but also Lilo and Stitch is a movie for all ages. It's Disney, and I don't think Snow White did anything to stop that.
Well, to give you an idea of the numbers, John, the last movie made 570 million, Dead Reckoning Part 1, or is now just known as Dead Reckoning. And that was against a budget of 300 million. This movie has a budget of like 400 million because like strikes, pandemic, inflation, blah, 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 blah. One of the most expensive movies of all time. Fallout made 791 million. That's the high mark. That also is the movie that holds the opening weekend record. So if this movie kicks off to like a higher number at the opening weekend, it needs to get to at least 791, which Fallout made, to be profitable, because like they've spent 400 million making it, another, I don't know, like 100 million odd probably marketing it, flying Tom Cruise all over the world to promote the thing.
Right.
So yeah, it's a break-even point is high, but I mean, if it gets off to a big start, maybe it gets there. I don't know, like, because you still have like 2 months before Superman comes out, and 4 or 5 weeks before Jurassic World Rebirth comes out. So if it has legs, because like Barbenheimer kind of squashed the previous movie a couple of years ago, but it won't have that kind of competition come already in theaters when it comes out. It will come its way in 5 weeks with Jurassic World, Superman, Fantastic Four, and all those movies. But yeah, I mean, John, do you think this has a chance to get anywhere close to that $790 million, or do you think that, well, a mustachioed Henry Cavill with his amazing arms was just too much? You can't replicate that success.
I think it'll be kind of in between. I think it'll be better than Dead Reckoning, but I don't think it'll be good as Fallout. I don't know if it'll reach those ultimate big heights, but I think it might make a little bit more than the last movie, but it still has like it's still impeded by something, is what I'm saying.
Cool. Well, be positive in the chat. Hello. Is that a demon-possessed squirrel? You know what people are saying? The way they've designed this Stitch, he looks like a collectible toy, kind of like the texture and stuff. So there's like, you don't get the uncanny valley because he looks like a toy come to life. The way they've gone about like the animation and the character design, and I feel like maybe that was a genius move because otherwise you'd be like, oh, dude, he doesn't look realistic. He looks like somebody. You go to the shelves of a Disney store, just go to a another toy store and get yourself a Stitch toy, and you look at what you're seeing on screen. It's kind of like what they did with Baby Yoda, Grogu, right? The design it helps it feel more photoreal. Figure Drawing saying 172 million opening for Lilo and Stitch. Justin Geeky Guy with a super chat for $5. Thank you so much. And he was saying, I saw Mission Impossible Final Reckoning in an early advanced screening today, and it was a flawed but satisfying conclusion. That is awesome, my dude. I mean, we'd love to hear more from you. Like, give us a longer review in the comments, and we'll bring it in on the Q&A session this Friday when we review the movie. But that looks to be an amazing start at the box office, because just these two movies alone will probably make $500 million worldwide, and then you have all the other movies that are still playing. Sinners is still making money. Final Destination kicked off to a franchise record last week. The box office right now is doing really well. I mean, John, Bridget, do you think the rest of the year is gonna be amazing for movies because where we are now, or do you think it's gonna eventually drop off, considering that we're in the summer movie season, and then do we have much more after it?
I'll let you go, John.
Oh, I don't know if it's gonna be successful or not, but I mean, I hope. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the Disney live action remakes, I'm kind of in the Tom Cruise boat of at least people are going to the theater. That's kind of the main thing of I think it will be, but I don't maybe not as successful as they think, but I think they'll both still be very successful. So yeah, I think yeah. I mean, it's hard to really say anything in regards to all of this, so we'll see.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let me put myself back on camera here. But hey, guys, let us know in the comments down below what you think about the Memorial Day box office weekend. Is it going to break all the records between just Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible alone, and not to mention Sinners, Final Destinations? You've also got, of course, Minecraft still out there, as well as the new Avengers, aka Thunderbolts. So let us know in the comments maybe what you think these movies are going to make at the box office. Is Lilo Stitch going to have a 200 million or close to opening weekend, and can Mission Impossible maybe cross 100 million? Can it overperform? Some of you guys might have already seen the movie. Let us know in the comments what you thought about the movies. Well, and in the meantime, we have to talk a little bit more about the box office. Some early projections coming out, and I just saw this come in, so I figured let's bring it up right now since we're talking box office anyway. And that is the early look at the box office for the John Wick spinoff, Ballerina. It's opening potentially, or currently tracking to open at 35 million, or somewhere over 35 million. I'll start with you, John. Are you surprised at this number, 35 to 40 million on a 3-day debut? That's not a huge number, but then again, the John Wick franchise has never been known to be making $100 million opening weekend. Most John Wick movies have made 400 million or somewhere in that range. Even I think that was a high mark for the last one. So do you think this is a good start, and do you think this bodes well for Ballerina overall?
I think so. It's been kind of a shaky production for most of it, because I know that they had to do a lot of reshoots. That Chad Stahelski had to come in and be like, all right, Len, let me take the reins here. So there was a bunch of that, so that was concerning. I think it'll be successful. The trailers are looking good. I don't think it'll be as good as any of the John Wick movies, but I love Ana de Armas. I love this franchise. I like Keanu Reeves making a cameo, because obviously they got to get butts in seats. So yeah, I think this will be a good time, and I think it'll be reasonably successful, but not hugely successful. Again, similar to what I've said before with other films.
Yeah, well, look, the early tracking is pretty good. Bridget, is this a movie that you'd be interested in going to see an opening weekend, or would you wait to see what other people are saying about it first?
I might give it the first day in the weekend to see what the buzz is, but it is something that that I am interested in seeing. It seems like a lot of action movies tend to be something that I'll skip, but I am kind of excited about this one, even though I know there's been issues with it. I think it might still turn out good, hopefully, because also a fan of a lot of the actors in it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of John Wick in this movie, actually, like a lot of Keanu Reeves. It takes place between, I believe, is it the third and the fourth movie, or the second and the third? I know some of you guys might know in the
third
chat.
and the fourth.
The third and the fourth. Okay. Now the fourth movie, John Wick 4, the last movie in this franchise, opened to a franchise record 73.8 million. So 35 to 40, I think, for a spin-off movie that's primarily focused on a different character, even though it has John Wick in there. That's not a bad number. And hopefully the reviews will be good. This movie still is a couple of weeks away. So this is just early, projections at the box office. Hello, Zach in the chat. How are you doing today? And between now and then, you obviously have Mission Impossible coming out, Lilo and Stitch. The next week, Karate Kid Legends comes out, and the following week after that, we get Ballerina. So there's still a little bit more time to go, and hopefully these numbers will only increase and grow depending on if the movie is getting positive reviews, and Mission Impossible reviews haven't been as good as maybe some people expected, and maybe that's playing into a lower opening weekend for that film. But we'll see if Ballerina fares any better. So let us know in the comments down below what you think about that. The box office, the early projection for, of course, Ballerina at the box office. What does that look like for you? Are you excited about this movie? Will you go see it on opening weekend? Well, and in the meantime, let's talk about one other thing before we move on to the quick hits, which is, of course, the world of streaming is now taking over television proper. And it looks like we're finally, at the precipice, or if not, having already crossed the line. So I wanted to quickly bring this up because they have some numbers here that make it really clear how much people don't watch normal TV anymore. And whether it's cable or broadcast TV over the air, people just stream everything they want to watch. So they actually have a couple of charts in here because now the vast majority, I think it was like roughly 50% and a little bit over 50%. And if you look at the real close details of people who watch any TV, watch it on streaming. And when you look at like the share of where people are watching the streaming shows, YouTube is far ahead with 12.4%. Netflix is second with 7.5%. Then you got Disney Plus, Prime Video, Roku. I'm surprised Roku and Paramount are on parity, and then Tubi, which I understand Tubi is free. So a lot of people will, the entry level point is easy. Warner Brothers Discovery, aka HBO Max, is pretty low down the list. Peacock, I'm not surprised that's where it is. And then all the others kind of combined down there. The only surprise there for me here in this list is, well, two surprises: how high Roku is, and then how low HBO Max is. And I mean, Apple TV Plus, I assume, is in the others category. So are you guys surprised that this is how things kind of break down between where people are streaming their favorite shows now?
Yeah, I have to agree with you on HBO Max. I thought that would have ranked higher. Even beyond Paramount, maybe. But I know Paramount has a lot of stuff too, especially I feel like older. I feel like Paramount has a lot of older things, but I don't know. I feel like there's just so much stuff on HBO, a lot of new shows and things that I feel like a lot more people would have that because I feel like they have some of the better things to watch. Whereas I do feel like, although Netflix is popular, I feel like some of their new movies are not keeping up to par with kind of that TV expectation.
Yeah, and when you look at the percentage numbers right now, according to Nielsen, 44.3% of people watch their TV on streaming, and then cable TV only gets 24.5%, so 24, like basically a quarter of the total people watching any TV watch it on cable, which is significantly down from like 10 years ago. 20.8% are watching it on broadcast like CBS, Fox, NBC, ABC. Mm-hmm. And then 44% are watching it on streaming, and that's the list there where we see whether it's YouTube, Netflix. John, are you surprised that this many people, like we're truly at an era where the majority of people are watching things on streaming? And then YouTube, I mean, YouTube is at the top of the list. We are on YouTube right now. Like,
I mean, yeah, because YouTube is free. Like, that's like the main thing of like YouTube is a free platform. And you can watch a lot of really, really good stuff on here for totally free. I mean, you could still support your favorite creators like on Patreon and stuff like that. But in the end, like, it's free. And even though, you know, YouTube is cracking down on ad blockers, which makes me want to fucking put a gun to my head, but it's still for the most part free, because God knows I'm not paying fucking YouTube Premium. Screw you, Google. But Netflix, I mean, it's still, even with their rising prices and garbage content, Netflix is still extremely popular. Disney, biggest studio in the world, and Prime Video, that's not surprising either. And then the fact that like 2 free streaming services are beating out Warner Brothers Discovery just goes to show how much they are in the shitter, because it's like you're getting beat out by Tubi. Like, think about that for a second. Like, come on, guys. You got to do better than that. I love Tubi. I use Tubi a lot, but like,
guys,
better than Warner Brothers, guys.
We talk about how Paramount is struggling as a company, but even their streaming service has like almost an entire percentage point on HBO Max. So Roku is doing really well for themselves. I think Roku, a lot of stuff is also free as well. So there you go. But yeah, let us know in the comments, guys. What do you think about this? Be Positive saying you pay YouTube with your soul. It's not for free. Well, I'm glad you guys are here watching us on YouTube, but let us know in the comments what you think about, you know, the change and how people consume their television shows, whether it's on streaming, cable, and broadcast. Right now, streaming is well ahead, and that change might be permanent. And next year that number will be even bigger and higher. Like, more people are watching on streaming than ever before, and well, cable is dying, as is broadcast. So let us know in the comments what you think about all of those news stories. Right now, we're gonna switch gears and let's get into the quick hits. So, John, if you want to do us the honor of hitting the quick hits music, we have a lot of quick hits today. Not as many as, you know, some days, but they're nonetheless hilarious. So, the first hilarious story of the day and quick hits. Thank you, Jalen. It's all our shit. It's Bossa Nova elevator music. So, Mattel and TriStar Pictures are teaming up on a Whac-A-Mole movie. Guys, are you excited for a Whac-A-Mole movie?
No.
Is there no limits to this? I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking. You guys tell me, is this one that you would like to see?
No, I mean, Barbie at least has some lore to make it work. How the f- are you gonna make a Whac-A-Mole movie work? Like, guys.
Do you think it exists in the same world as Barbie because they're also Mattel? Like, it's technically like the same.
I have no idea. Don't care. I'm not gonna watch this crap.
I didn't know that was even a board game you could get. We played like Elephant growing up. I'd rather see an Elephant movie. Honestly.
I'd rather see a Hungry Hippos movie.
Yeah, true.
I'd like make it like into a horror movie, like just like it's like
Yeah.
it's like Planet Earth mockumentary type thing. I'd watch that.
I'd see that. Me too.
Yeah. Oh, Fiona's in the chat. Oh, that's a compliment for me, I'm sure. Thank you. Hello. And you know what? And she might be onto something, because there was a comment in this article that I laughed at really hard. With, like, if only they could get Kool-Aid, which, if you guys are a fan of the studio, I think in the very first episode, they're meant to be making a Kool-Aid movie, except like Martin Scorsese has like a script for, you know, like what's the one? What was the big massacre? It's like Don't Drink the Kool-Aid, where
yeah, in Africa, the church guy.
It literally. So
they already did that movie, right, dude? It's called Real Steel.
Yes, they did.
I remember that movie. Nobody else does, but they did.
I mean, good question from Ray J. Is this in the Barbie-verse? Like that, I don't know. Whac-A-Mole technically also owned by Mattel as Barbie, so we'll find out. Caleb would like to see us in a Whac-A-Mole movie, so there you go. I don't know. That will be interesting. We shall find out how well or not well this does. Moving on to the next thing. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is reteaming with A24. Of course, he's got that martial arts
Smashing Machine, MMA,
Smashing Machine,
UFC, whatever it is.
UFC movie. So he's in a reteam with A24, the same studio he's got that movie coming out with, on a psychological thriller called Breakthrough. Your thoughts on this one, Bridget? Is this one that you would like to see, a psychological thriller that's penned by up-and-comer writer Zeke Goodman?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting. I guess, yeah, The Rock hasn't really done any psychological thrillers, so I would be really interested. I guess it all depends on the trailer.
This is the hierarchy of cinema is about to change, because bro is going to be in this very serious biopic. He's going to be in a Martin Scorsese movie, and now he's doing a psychological thriller. So it's like,
yeah.
All right, we'll see. We'll see if Dwayne can be a real actor for 2 seconds.
Hey, look. He's not just trying to prove that he's got range now. I'll go to bat for Dwayne Johnson and saying the man has been a good actor for a long time. He just does a lot of movies where he's playing himself, which is totally on him. Totally on him. I'm not saying he's not made the best choices in his roles that he has picked.
Yeah.
But like doing populist, franchise work, up and coming actor The Rock. Thank you, Gunn. Here's the thing. Well, I keep going back to that movie that he did where he did it felt like a Rambo Rebel Ridge-esque movie. What was it? The Town?
That's true.
Wow, the hate is real. It's back in the day, guys. What was the movie with The Rock back in the day where he comes back to his hometown and a corrupt casino is basically running amok on the town, and the guy just goes in and takes them down, and he's becomes the new sheriff. So that's one of those movies from early in The Rock's career, which actually was really
Wasn't
good.
it like not Rampage? Wasn't it like Breakdown or something like that?
No. Oh God, I forget what. I'm gonna have to look up his IMDb to find out what it was. It wasn't like. It was around the time when they were making the Mummies movies, and
damn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Walking Tall. Walking
Tall.
From 2004. If you want to watch a good Rock movie, go watch Walking Tall. The Rundown is another one, I believe. Antonio in the chat. Hello, Antonio. Moving on to the next thing, though. We have some news about the latest iteration of Hard Knocks on HBO and NFL Films. It's going to feature the Buffalo Bills in the training camp edition, and then the NFC East, aka they're going to show you the Eagles, the defending champion Eagles, and the up-and-coming Cowboys, as well as the somewhat okay New York Giants and the surprisingly good Washington Commanders.
Somewhat okay New York Giants. Do you really want to get into that conversation,
somewhat
Dan,
okay, dude? I think those are
ahead
very.
Of me, or do you really want to go there?
Those are very fair statements on all 4 teams. I think.
I'm just saying the Giants were good at one point and where it mattered. So I'm just gonna say that.
So were other teams, Sean. So were other teams. So anyway. Moving on to the next thing. I don't think we have much else to talk about there. John Krasinski apparently didn't know his brother-in-law Stanley Tucci was in the same movie as him, Fountain of Youth, that's coming out on Apple TV Plus soon. And he only found out midway through filming because the director told him, Guy Ritchie, who's directing the movie, was like, oh yeah, Stanley is coming in tomorrow to shoot some stuff. He's like, what? On this movie? And he's like, yeah, he's in the same movie. How does that happen? Like, how does the star of the movie not know that his own brother-in-law, because Stanley Tucci is married to Emily Blunt's sister, so that's how they're related.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that until I read this article, but I was still surprised that this is how we found out. I mean, are you guys surprised? What kind of compartmentalization are they doing over there?
I think they met on Devil Wears Prada because they were also Emily Blunt and Stanley Tucci were in that film, and I think that's how he met his sister.
I don't think so because no, you want to know why I know that's not true? Because I remember one time John Krasinski or Emily Blunt was doing an interview and he was watching The Devil Wears Prada, and she's like, and Emily Blunt walked in and she's like, why are you watching the movie I'm in? And he's like, it had nothing to do with you. I just really love this movie. So I don't think they met on Devil Wears Prada. I think they met way later than that. But I just love that story because it's just like he's just a fan. He's just a fan of that movie, and it just so happens to now have his wife in it. Yes, we know Caleb.
Oh, John Krasinski. Oh, I think Stanley Tucci met Emily Blunt's sister. Is what I meant.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. So
they
now
were
we
in that.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Gotcha.
All right, cool.
I didn't know John
what's
Krasinski
going on in the chat now.
Yeah,
There's
cool.
names. But okay, moving on to the next thing. Quick hits. We keep it quick. Not this. What the fuck? No ads, please. Okay. West Hartford's own Michael Schur of The Office fame, of course, and also he's done a number of other shows. And of course, he got started SNL before The Office and any of these other shows that he's won Emmys for. He is now getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The reason I bring it up from a CD Insider is because John and I are both in Connecticut. So, you know, West Hartford's own, the Connecticut's own Michael Schur getting a star on the Walk of Fame. Bridget, what are your thoughts? One of the most prolific creators of modern day sitcoms getting his star on the Walk of Fame.
That's gonna feel really like a huge relief, Jim. I'm happy for him. I'm happy that it brings hometown pride for you guys. And you know, I don't live too far from the Walk of Fame, so I'll definitely see his star at some point.
Yeah.
Good
That's
old
awesome.
Tom Cruise.
When will Caleb get a star on the Walk? Well, Caleb,
I don't
that's
know.
not a question for us to answer.
Off your
That's
ass.
not a
and
question
suck
we
the
can
right
answer.
dick, and you'll eventually get there in no time.
I'm gonna
Honestly, at
pretend I
this
didn't
point,
hear that.
you get a Hawk of Hall. You get a
Let's
star.
move. Let's
you get
keep.
a star.
Let's keep moving.
You get
Let's
a star. Everybody gets a star. My dog gets a star.
Great
Remember
stuff.
when this meant something? Yeah, neither do I. Anywho.
Okay. Britt Lower of the Severance on Apple TV Plus, she just said that she was pretty sure she was Helly R in the season 2 finale, and there's no trickery there. They're not trying to deceive us, Ben Stiller and Dan Erickson. Because if you remember, again, there's a bit of a spoiler here to the end of season 2 of Severance. Our main man is finally on his way out, but then his innie decides to stay because he's in love with the innie version of Helena, I think, and her innie is Helly R. Britt Lower plays her, and so his innie picks his love over his outie's wife, and it's like, I'm not gonna explain anymore. You guys have seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. Have either of you guys seen the show? Is this something that clarifies a little bit of the mystery at the end of season 2 for you?
I don't even know what this freaking headline means.
I don't know
What do you mean did she like go method actor or something? I have no idea what this means.
No, well, it's kind of like people were wondering what's going on in the show because it's a bit of a twist and at the end of the show. So there you go. But yeah, no, I thought this was probably a little bit of a fishy, not like a very suspect end to the season, but they've been building up to it. Yeah, very sus. They were building up to it because you could kind of see it coming. That build up this conflict between, you know, Mark's innie and outie. So you were like, okay, there's gonna be a decision at some point, and hopefully it's just a cliffhanger that obviously they'll resolve it in the next season. So we'll see when we get to that point. But getting back to the movies, 28 Days Later is returning to theaters today. This article is from yesterday, so in there they say returning to theaters tomorrow. Well, that was today, where you can go watch 28 Days Later back in theaters, and then as part of that, you got to see a sneak peek of 28 years later. John, are you excited about this movie? Is this one that you're gonna go see when it comes out on day one, or are you gonna wait till 28 Days Later? Sorry, I had to put that in there.
No, I'm definitely gonna see this because this looks fantastic. I mean, the trailer got me hooked. In terms of this franchise, I like 28 Days Later. It's a little bit overrated, but it's still a good movie. 28 Weeks Later, I thought was even better. I know some people have problems with that movie, and that's fine, but I really liked it even more so. But like, they're two movies I don't like love. So I was like, okay, I'll maybe go see the trailer for 28 Years Later. And then the trailer absolutely blew me away. So I'm just like, all right, let's go. I'm in it. And I don't know if I'm going to be seeing 28 Days Later. I don't know if I would see the re-release, but honestly, I might now to see if I have like a change of heart, like maybe with the context of the new movie coming out, I'll go watch it. And maybe I'll like it more than I do right now.
Yeah, well, Danny Boyle directing this one. They've got another sequel on the way already that's going to come out next year. Bridget, is this a movie that you are interested in? Are you a fan of zombie movies?
No, and honestly, after the pandemic and everything, I don't know, these movies just kind of like freak me out. So yeah, I probably won't be.
Totally normal reaction. I probably won't go see this because I'm kind of like, not exactly my thing. So We'll see though. I'm sure Liz will see it and we'll talk about it. Liz, as she likes to say, she'll see it so that we don't have to. But anyway, Nia DaCosta is directing that other sequel that's coming out next year, I think. Thank you for Be Positive for that one. Now, on the other side of the Mortal Kombat franchise, always growing up, there was like Tekken, there was Street Fighter, there was Mortal Kombat. We know we were getting a Mortal Kombat sequel. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Tekken movie that's been in development hell for a while, but Street Fighter apparently is in talks over at Legendary with Andrew Koji on the far left there, of course Jason Momoa, Noah Centineo, whose show just got canceled on Netflix, and he was in the DCEU, part of like the whole Black Adam movie, and then Roman Reigns, former record-breaking undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns. So all four of these cast of characters already, even just one of them alone, has more star power than the entirety of the Mortal Kombat franchise they've got going on over at Legendary as well. So, John, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, Hiroyuki Sanada is probably the most high-profile actor in the Mortal Kombat movies, but the Street Fighter movie is on the way, and would you like to see all four of these men take part in it? And then who else would you like to see be in the franchise if they were to go and, I don't know, like actually make the movie?
It depends which characters they're playing. Get like an actual American for Guile this time instead of a Belgian. That would be nice. But this sounds like a great lineup. I mean, Jason Momoa, we already love him now because of Lobo again, because Minecraft, but Lobo. And then Andrew Koji is definitely on the up and up. That dude rocks from what I've seen of him. Noah Centineo, just stop doing like shitty Netflix rom-coms and you should be golden. Like he was decent in Black Adam. Like he had a little bit too much of like Tom Holland Spider-Man-esque like mannerisms, but he was still pretty good in the movie. Roman Reigns is a wrestler, so he can't fucking act, but like, I'm sure like he would be cool. Do Chun-Li, make sure to just get the thighs right, and you should be golden. That's all we ask for, okay? Just like don't have a skinny bitch in the role. We want the thick thighs on Chun-Li. Like that's all we ask for. But this looks like a great cast.
I mean, Bridget, is this a franchise that would interest you at all? Like, were you a fan of Street Fighter growing up?
The video game or the movie? Because I did not watch the movie.
No, the game. I'm talking about the game. But were you a fan of the games?
Yeah, I watched my brother play, and he wouldn't let me play. But watching him was a fun game. But yeah, I never saw the 1994. But
don't.
Okay, well, if it's like similar and gives same vibes, I'm sure I'd be on board for it.
Yeah. Well, the cast would be, I mean, A-list, not actors necessarily, but like big names across. Well, in terms of Roman Reigns has done a little bit of acting. The other actors here very well known in their own right. Andrew Koji, I feel like probably deserves a few better roles. Noah Centineo has made some, fishy picks.
I think Noah's the only one that kind of seems random, but of course I don't know what his audition was, so he might be great in this.
If you've seen, what's the name of the show that he had on? Oh, I'm forgetting the name. It was on Netflix. The Recruit. There's 2 seasons of it. It got canceled after season 2. If you see him there, then it's not like he's a fighter in the show necessarily. He's meant to be like a CIA analyst or like or like a lawyer or something. But anyway,
something a little more serious and
that was more of there was more of a comedic tone to that. Well, remember we talked about how Practical Magic 2 is happening? Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman are very excited about it. Apparently, they were talking about it back when they were filming the first movie, but now Joey King is in talks to join the project. Suzanne Bier is directing the Warner Brothers features that will shoot later this summer. Bridget, is this one that you would be excited for? Have you seen the first one, and did you hear about this sequel coming down the road?
Honey, this movie's been on like my watch list on, I don't know, Netflix or Hulu forever, and I still haven't watched it, but I know it's obviously a classic. So it doesn't surprise me that they're making, it's like season of the remakes, so it doesn't surprise me they're doing a Buffy remake. This seems like along the same lines to remake some of these classics. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll obviously have to watch the first one before I do see this, but the breakdown, it seems like a good premise.
Yeah. Well, John, you've you were on the show when we talked about the sequel originally. What are your thoughts on Joey King potentially joining the movie as well?
Cool.
And on that note, we're going to move on to the last quick hit for the day. And this is one that Steven Ortega actually suggested earlier when he popped in the chat. And basically, they're doing a reboot of Scrubs with Zach Braff set to return for the ABC rebooted show. Interesting. I wonder how that's going to play out. So JD is back, and it's a reboot. It's not a revival like we were talking about earlier for Phineas and Ferb or like Buffy. Are you guys surprised this is happening, and do you think people still have an appetite for this?
Possibly. As long as it's good, then maybe it'll succeed. But I mean, it's a good sign that he's coming back, because last time that we had Zach Braff in a very small role and not in the show all that much, it was shit. So, you know, let's hope that the fans like this after the last season, which was very controversial. So, yeah, I think fans will take a liking to this.
Yeah, no, it's definitely still a popular franchise because on streaming it still does well. So I'm not entirely surprised they're rebooting it. Although I am surprised that in the reboot they're still gonna have Zach Braff back. I mean, clearly he's not. I mean, he's a lot older now, so like he doesn't look like this. I mean, not like he looks like a different person, but I'm like, I wonder how that's gonna play into the whole storyline and
things.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving on from the quickest, then John, you can bring that quickest music to a close because that's it. That's all the quickest we got. And so, guys, I'll just ask you quite simply in the comments down below. Let us know what was your favorite quick hit today, and what was your favorite story? What was your favorite news story we did earlier on the show? And with that, of course, we now have to move on to the main event of the show. As per always, we do it each and every day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and that's what you guys are here for. So welcome on into another episode of DCU Daily. As per always, we have a number of topics from Superman. We're going to talk a little bit about Blue Beetle, and then, of course, we have to talk about what Andy Serkis said about the Batman Part 2, his one wish that he'd like to see come true for the sequel that Matt Reeves is supposedly going to deliver the first completed draft of the script in a few days from now. So, yeah, let's get into it, shall we? And with me today, as always, I've got John, but also Bridget. So, as I usually do at the start of DCU Daily, I'll start with you, Bridget. Which of the stories that we're going to cover today, including the Penguin, which I forgot to mention, which of the stories are you most excited about today on the DC front?
I have to go back into my brain, but actually, I know it's really quick, but I was kind of intrigued by the golden biscuit little sweepstakes that are happening.
Oh yes, that looks really cute. That is really cute. I love the idea of what they're doing there. One or maybe multiple lucky fans might get to go to a two. We'll talk about it. We'll get into it. Well, John, what is your favorite story? It's a Penguin. Is it Blue Beetle? Is it the Batman 2? Superman? Something else entirely?
Honestly, Blue Beetle is exciting because we haven't heard a lick about that in like a year and a half. So let's hope that they can, give us some information if it's not from a scooper, but I think it is from a scooper because, those guys give us hope. And then once we realize who they are, they're like, never mind.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, let's dive into it. First, we're going to do some DC news in quick hits fashion. Then we're going to get into our main topic, which is, of course, the Batman 2. But we have Superman stuff, so I'm sure we'll be spending plenty of time on that. But the first thing is the Joel Dueña confirming now that the DC animated series, the new DCU animated series for Blue Beetle, it's set to officially begin production in early 2026. Are you guys surprised, excited? John, I'll start with you. We've been talking about this for the longest time, from the time when it was just trust me bro sources talking about it to when Joel Dueña officially started talking about it at different events and conventions. Then I believe this became more or less official through James Gunn and Peter Safran. I don't remember if it was part of the press event or if it was one of the social media responses, but we know it's going to be an animated show. I'm guessing eventually we're going to get the live action version of the character again with Joel Dueña in the role. But are you surprised they're moving this quickly on this? Because if they're doing production on this in early 2026, it's animated. I imagine we might even get it by the end of 2026, if not maybe early 2027.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so, because Blue Beetle, it wasn't a perfect movie, but it did get a lot of things right. I think Jolo was pretty much perfect in the role. I thought it had a lot of things going for it. The action, the effects were all surprisingly good, considering it was mainly supposed to be a made for streaming movie. So I think it was quite the surprise that it was as good as it was. And anybody saying he's a knockoff Iron Man can fuck off, because it's like,
It was way better, and you got to give it more. Well, no, I wouldn't say it was way better than the Iron Man movie was, but it was way better than just being a cheap ripoff. I think it was
Yeah.
a movie that stood on
I mean,
its
there's
own.
similar things, but it's like
The
not
plot
even
structure is
close
very
to
similar, but like
being
very surface
the
level.
same thing.
Very surface level comparisons, if anything. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, sorry, go ahead. You were gonna say, John?
I think I think that I'm just, I just think Marduenya, like, I hope he has like a bright future ahead of him now that Cobra Kai has ended, and he can move on to like bigger and better things, and isn't just trapped in that casting, hopefully, because I think I just really like him, and I hope that he has great, and I think being a superhero hopefully can unlock those doors further now that that character is coming back. And yeah, I'm super stoked for it.
Yeah,
More Jaime, please.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, and Bridget, I don't know if you've seen that Blue Beetle movie that came out a few years ago in the DCEU, the now defunct DCEU, or if you're familiar with Joel Marduenia from the Cobra Kai. But what are your thoughts on an animated Blue Beetle series and the fact that they're working on it in early 2026? You'd imagine that means we probably will be getting it in early 2027, which I don't think a lot of us were expecting that. But what are your thoughts on this whole news?
Yeah, I still haven't watched it, but I do know that it did, from what I'd heard, and I have a friend that really loves the series. But yeah, with the success of the movie was definitely, I think, better than people had anticipated. So it doesn't surprise me now that they've kind of been able to maybe get a green light for this series, which is really exciting. I think getting to see it going into animation is also kind of a fresh take that I think will, definitely keep people interested. And I'm sure for a lot of fans of the show, like my friends, was really excited for when this finally does come out.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, Joel Marduenia, I think, was perfect casting in a lot of ways. I hope they bring George Lopez back, or maybe I guess in this case it will be the voice of George Lopez for his character. And I'd love to see him cross paths in the new universe, the DCU, with Booster Gold. That would be fun. And yeah, it would be nice to see that. The movie did have a lot of like typical superhero origin story tropes, so I'm hoping that what they do with the character moving forward is going to be more original and can build on what they did before. And I guess we'll have to find out how much of that movie still is canon, considering what they're doing with Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, and how those movies and TV shows are sort of canon, but like James Gunn still has a little bit of room for interpretation and a gray area. So we'd have to figure out if that same applies for Blue Beetle, because he's, again, Jolo is one of the few actors who's kind of crossing over from the defunct DCEU into the DCU. So we'll see. But in the meantime, we have to now switch gears and discuss the Penguin, because, well, of course, Joel Marduenia's Blue Beetle TV series is going into production in early 2026. We don't yet know when the new Batman movie, the Batman Part 2, is going to go into production. But we do know that The Penguin was an amazing show, and it had its run and got a bunch of awards. But there's one very important set of awards it has yet to give its best shot at, which is the Emmys. So now we have some news regarding the Emmys coming up later this year. And we have some submissions now, the official submissions from the Penguin for the upcoming Emmys. And so these are the 5 categories. In Best Actor, they've submitted Colin Farrell, not surprising. Best Actress, Kristen Milioti. Best Supporting Actor, Renzi Feliz. And then Best Supporting Actress, Deirdre O'Connell. Of course, she played the mother of the Penguin. And then for Outstanding Limited Series, they've got Lauren LeFranc, who, of course, was the showrunner. So I want to start by asking, Bridget, did you see the show? And are you looking forward to seeing the Penguin, hopefully pick up a few trophies at the Emmys?
Yes, and I actually reviewed it back in October with you guys, and that's what got me to watch the whole thing. But I'm glad that I did. It was a phenomenal series, and I'm not surprised, but I'm really excited, especially to see Kristen Milioti. She was just fantastic, and Colin Farrell. I think it just surprises me too that they're not nominated for best makeup, because that whole transformation was so impressive.
I'm not 100% sure how much that. I don't know if that's something that they haven't announced yet or whatever. But that's a good point. But John, I want to ask you: do you think the Penguin will win 5 trophies? Because they've obviously nominated all 4 of the leads, the 2 leads in the Milioti and Farrell, and then of course the 2 big supporting characters as well. And Justice for Vic. I should put that photo back up on that screen back there. But and then Deirdre O'Connell, who did such an amazing job playing the mother character, and then the way the show kind of twists and turns its way to the ultimate climactic episode. And it's still, like, you look at the reviews from Variety, a masterful examination of criminality. The show is twisted, disturbing, deeply enthralling. And then the Los Angeles Times called it its class consciousness and sentimental streak. It stands on the shoulders of Depression-era films like Scarface, Little Caesar, and The Public Enemy. John, what do you think are the odds of the Penguin's success and hopefully getting a few Emmys later this year?
I hope. That's the thing. Like, I hope it gets something, but like, I'm kind of iffy on it getting Emmys. I don't think Renzi Feliz is definitely not. I think he's just too young. I don't think that he's gonna do that. I think Kristen Milioti could, Colin Farrell could, and Deirdre O'Connell could. I don't know. I don't think the show will either. But it's got a lot going against it. Plus, it's, kind of old news. We were talking about this the other day, where it might not be. It might not be like popular enough for them, so they'll be like, all right, get the heck out of here. So I could see them doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, the odds of it winning at least 1 or 2 of these are pretty good. In Best Limited Series, his biggest competition is probably going to be Adolescence. Best Actor, Colin Farrell. I mean, I'm guessing that's only for the Limited Series category, so it's not, Shogun is technically not in that same category, so that will help its cause. Kristen Milioti and Colin Farrell have both won a thing or 2 in the award season proper. So now with the Emmys, I'm hoping some of that success carries over. I would love for Renzi Feliz to win for Best Supporting Actor, and Deirdre O'Connell, of course, was also pretty darn good in her role. So, and as far as Antonio's comment about the rumor regarding the Penguin, it's a limited series, so there's no cancellation. Like, it's done. They did it. Like, they finished the show. I don't think there's another season. So I don't think you can cancel a show that already was a limited series. So there was only going to be the 8 episodes. They
canceled themselves before they could get canceled.
Exactly. That's perfectly said. That's exactly how you want to put that. So yeah, I don't get whatever rumor because it doesn't make sense. Fundamentally, it doesn't make sense. But what does make sense is they're continuing to promote more and more Superman. And I will just say, before we get into the Superman stuff, I think I might have to head out in a few minutes. I have some other obligations, as it were. But in the meantime, let's start talking about Superman, shall we? So Bridget and John, Bridget, you mentioned this was your favorite thing you wanted to talk about on DCU Daily today, and that is, of course, Crypto's Golden Biscuits Sweepstakes. And as it says there in the graphic, you can pick up a copy of Adventure Comics number 210 at comic book stores on June 18th for a chance to attend the world premiere with director James Gunn himself and go see Superman with the cast and crew at its world premiere. So, as you mentioned, Bridget, I think it's up to 2 people can win this. Can you give us a better idea of what this is all about, and how can people get involved?
Yeah, it looks like go pick up this comic, and it's like on the inside front cover, because I guess this is a reprint of the 1955 edition of Adventure Comics, which has Crypto on the front. And yeah, I think it's just so cute. I think it's a really fun idea. And I don't know, like, especially nowadays, I feel like a lot of sweepstakes are like on Instagram and online. And I think just, bringing people back into stores to pick up a copy, to try and get tickets. It's like remind me of Willy Wonka, and I just think it's really cute. I think it makes me want to just do it because I love things like this. And I think it's gonna hopefully it'll drum up some more interest in the books.
I hope so too. I mean, John, any thoughts on your part? Would you go pick up an Adventure Comics 210 so you can maybe go see the movie with James Gunn himself at the world premiere?
Hell yeah. I don't know if I have any comic book places near me. But I might like order it through like DC. I don't know if that would count, but like I could try to find it somewhere. I don't know where that would be. Maybe I got to ask my buddy, but who frequents comic book shops more than I do. So yeah, I might try to do that because you know what? See it with Gunny, my boy. That would be awesome. And plus, you know, crypto, beautiful, lovely, goodest boy.
Absolutely. Well, the next thing that we have to talk about Superman. By the way, this sweepstake, I'm definitely taking part in this. I'm going to be going to a comic book store on June 18th and picking up my copy. But you can also check out a new photo, a new Fandango exclusive. Remember, I mentioned earlier that we got this exclusive Fantastic Four image from Fandango, but they also put out an exclusive photo of Superman. Another look at the character. This looks like he is standing in the Fortress of Solitude, and we get a look at the suit again and you know, in all its glory, including the bulge, as it were. And the suit doesn't look like it's all that loose around the edges, and the colors look a little darker, probably because of the way it's lit. What are your thoughts on this? I'll start with you, Bridget. Did you love this new look at Superman? Something that we have seen so many photos and trailers in recent weeks, but this is still one of the shots that I guess we haven't seen yet. I'm not sure if it's a part of the movie itself, or if this is just something that, you know, they've done for promotional purposes. But do you like the photo?
Yeah. I mean, I guess giving a female perspective here, I have to say I think this is the best photo that I've seen yet of him as Superman. I think the tight fitting does help. And yeah, I can really see him as his character for sure in this. Brings it to life.
Brings it to light, or life. I guess both. John, what are your thoughts on the
I mean, once I saw this, I'm like, give it to me yesterday. I know he's supposed to be the Man of Tomorrow, but I want to see this yesterday. So, you know, I was just like, yeah, give it to me now. Like I want it. I want to see it. Give it to me. It's lovely. It's amazing. The colors are darker, but I don't really give a shit. It like even despite this, it's still not Zack Snyder dark, so I'm cool with it. And that God, perfect.
By the way, good question for B positive 99.
It's to keep his trunks up. Why is that so hard to wrap your head around?
Fair
he needs
question.
Or else it's gonna fall.
To snatch that waist, obviously.
Yeah, iconic pose too, like you said, Bridget, very classic. This is, in a lot of people's eyes, I mean, like you guys are saying in the chat, this is probably the best photo they've put out so far in terms of just being this classic, iconic look at the character. But yeah, I mean, he looks fantastic. But yeah, John, I'll let you kind of take over from here. The next thing I think we probably want to discuss is the poster. There's another poster out for Superman, which has a little bit of the art we looked at the other day, but now it's a different kind of spin on it because we get a look at the logo of Metropolis as well, which looks interesting. So yeah. That looks amazing. I'm really excited to see again what comes of it all, because
the only thing you want to see coming is that bulge, Dan.
Okay. No, I what I mean by that is I want to see where they show that a poster, because it does look pretty amazing. People have been asking, like, are they going to show it like in particular specific countries at specific screenings, or somebody's going to get handed out at, you know, different what is this, like different kind of like special early fan screenings, like we have a prime premiere screening happening early. So this is a nice poster, the city of Superman and the city of tomorrow, which is of course Metropolis. You've got the Daily Planet Globe in there. What are your thoughts on this one, Bridget? Do you like this poster?
Yeah, I like this like kind of drawn look. It looks more, I think, classic and kind of to the time. The only thing is I feel like his pants here look a little strange. I don't know why. Maybe they look extra big. I don't know. That's something else I'm like, oh, it looks a little different. But otherwise, I like the design concept a lot. I think it looks, really colorful and kind of really fits in, I think, with the whole time of what it's supposed to be fitting in.
Yeah. It's basically it's a riff on the poster we saw the other day, except they're just gonna add it in the Metropolis logo. It does look amazing. I would love to collect this particular poster because we haven't seen Metropolis sort of in that type font anywhere before. So that looks pretty gosh darn good. The other thing I want to kind of quickly go through a couple of other Superman things before I head out. The trailer itself, I believe by now, this was from yesterday. By now, it probably has crossed 28 million, I think, on YouTube, which is great. Only a 3% dislike rate, so that means 97% of the people that watch it have loved it. So yeah, we have a little bit of that, vocal minority in there, but the trailer's doing fantastic. Even more than the Fantastic Four trailer itself, which I think has a fraction of the views this thing has, which not surprising. I think it can only be a good thing considering that, according to rumors and John's favorite insider, the movie might be on the way to making 150 to 175 million at the opening weekend. So there's that. But the last thing for Superman we wanted to discuss, and I'll leave you guys here to then talk about the Batman 2 story with John and Bridget. But we have some new flying footage of Superman from, I think this is their billboard in London. Your thoughts on this? Because we haven't seen Superman flying from these angles yet. Bridget, you saw the trailer. This is not in the trailer. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
No, it's like, they specifically saved this for this purpose, I think, but it looks really, really cool. Gosh, people in London are so lucky to get the first look. I'd be, wherever that is, I'd just be like scared of getting hit by a car, because I'd be like, wow, that looks amazing.
Yeah, these flying scenes have been really, really, really fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you did there, John. I see what you did there. You're trying to get away with it. I'm
Fantastic Four. I'm super, man.
What I'll say is, like, the flying in this movie looks different and yet more realistic, because you see the way the hair is now getting flung in I'm sure the windy skies, and the way the cape is being shown, the perspective. The cinematography is different from Man of Steel. In Man of Steel, they always had like the hair slicked back, kind of like the classic version from Christopher Reeve. You see the way he's flying through clouds and how they move with him. The flying scenes look amazing and different and unique to this movie. I don't know if it's better than Man of Steel. It's different from Man of Steel, but also 12 years later, CGI has improved. I'm sure all in his hair in this scene and any flying sequence is entirely CGI, and that kind of detail and realism in the hair is just not something you could have achieved back in the day with what we saw with Man of Steel even. And that's really why they just slicked his hair back and said, oh, one less thing to worry about in post-production, even though they had like CGI hair for like Aquaman and stuff. But I love it. You guys let us know in the comments what you think about it. This looks pretty gosh darn fantastic. Pardon the pun again. I mean, Fantastic Four and Superman. But that is all the Superman stuff we have right now. And as I said before, I'll let John and Bridget take you the rest of the way, because Andy Serkis wants to take his relationship with Bruce to a new extreme. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a little bit of a clickbait intro, but I'll let John and Bridget elaborate. But thank you guys for, of course, stopping by, and keep on watching because it's gonna get interesting. I'll see you guys next time.
Oh, that was I don't know if that was your phone or my phone. Anyway, so moving on to the very last thing. That's better. We have Andy Serkis talking about the Batman Part 2, because God knows Matt Reeves isn't. And he was saying that he has one specific request for the Batman 2 story, and DC needs to make it happen, at least according to the direct. So Andy Serkis was talking about what he wants to see in the sequels for the Batman Part 2 and onwards, if anything happens beyond Part 2. But he had this to say in regards to his relationship with Bruce. And he said, what I loved about what Matt Reeves created in the last one was this sense of a guardian who has not an iota of paternal instinct in him, trying to be a father he could never be. And that was really at the core of their relationship. He really felt he had failed the one person that failed you. that he adores and tries to look after. He knows how to help him in terms of skills and in terms of cracking cones and how to fight and all those things from being a soldier, from being in the military in his past. But the one thing that he fails to do is have a proper paternal feeling for him. And I would like to see the exploration of that deeply and go further. I mean, I don't know about the story or where Matt's taking him, but I would love to see that taken to the extreme, but in a more extreme situation. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that's the right way to go with this version of Alfred's character and this version of the Batman / Bruce Wayne and Alfred relationship, or do you think this is a wrong turn?
I mean, I feel like it's not something that I had really thought about before, but hearing him kind of explain this perspective, I feel like it makes sense. I feel like it holds true to the comic canon, that this could take place in that world where he is really viewing him as some kind of, foster child in a way that he's now kind of taken on that parental role, and feeling like he's somewhat responsible for him. It makes me think too what they could do in the next film if he uses, like, I guess, this kind of parental authority to kind of put maybe limits on Batman or create some kind of tension that is common to have, with a parental figure. If he kind of really plays into that in this character, I find it's kind of interesting, and I don't know how it could really play out, but it's interesting to know that that's what he's thinking about his character and trying to really delve into that relationship.
I don't know. I think I don't think I'm a fan of this aspect. I think with the Alfred Bruce Wayne relationship, the best relationship is when Alfred is very fatherly, because the thing is, we got this already. We got it in Gotham. Like, there was an entire TV show based around how Sean Pertwee's Alfred was not really a father figure, but like just kind of helping Bruce, like, kind of get over his parents' death and like helping him fight and all that. But at the same time, it could be interesting if they take it into a different direction. But I prefer the more fatherly instinct, because we didn't really get a lot of that in other movies. I mean, Michael Goff was not really fatherly in any of those movies, and neither was Jeremy Irons. So I don't picture them as fatherly figures in those movies either. So I think doing something very different would be making him more of a fatherly figure, like how he is in the comics. But I mean, there is like different iterations you can do, different aspects of the character, and this isn't a bad way to go because it's a very different world. It's just like I think it's just not I just think it has been done before, like, which is very much a thing that has been done. And I was going to get to that soon, but we can get to it now. But Just Some Geeky Guy gave us a super chat where he says, I hope Reeves doesn't have Hush, Pig, or Joker as the main villain, because it'll just remake the first film's plot of Batman hunting a serial murderer. Yeah, I don't think Joker is going to be the villain. Pig is definitely not going to be the villain. Hush is more likely, but I think it's too soon and too small to do Court of Owls just yet, but that seems like the direction they're going in. So I hope it's something big and epic like that. I will, you know what? I will speak of Gotham. It sucked, but it's a part of history. So that's what we got to talk about. Anyway, MI6 Alfred could do a little sparring with Bruce. Yeah, I mean, that was what it was about. So I do hope that, I mean, I would prefer the fatherly relationship, but the thing is, I'm not the director. I'm not the writer. So whatever Matt Reeves feels like is right, I think he should go with that, go with his gut. Just don't take 10 years to write the damn script and we should be fine. Oh, wait, that already happened. So I would want the more fatherly relationship, but that's just me.
Would you want their, as this is a follow-up, would you want to see their relationship show them growing closer, or if there was like a rift?
I mean, it seemed like that they were growing closer. Um, I think your Wi-Fi might have cut out again. Um, I think I would, because that's what it seemed like towards the end of the movie after Alfred got almost seemingly killed was them uh getting like mending a relationship, and it seems like they were going to become closer. Sorry, we lost you there for a second, Bridget.
Or no Wi-Fi?
No, it's fine. I think so it seemed like that's the way to go rather than this, where it's like now it's like, oh, this extreme like non-fatherly relationship. I'm like, I don't think that's the way to go. And so I would prefer honestly, hell yeah. Okay, man. Season 2 better happen. Damn it. But could they introduce Lucius Fox in this one? That could be an interesting little bit. Whatever they decide to do with the canon, but it's just like I feel like the Batman kind of reiterated a lot of stuff we've seen before, but disguised that it was like the first movie to do it. Like, oh, we're finally doing the detective angle. That was done in the Dark Knight trilogy. Oh, we're finally having it like Batman be a symbol of hope. That's been done in the last 3 iterations of Batman. Oh, we're finally having like Alfred be a distant character. Well, that's been done pretty much everywhere else. Oh, we're gonna have, Batman be this weird guy who can't interact with people. That was done in Batman 89. So it's like these things were done. Oh, we're doing a realistic Batman again. That was done in the Dark Knight. It's a movie that I liked. I think it's a good movie. It's just it's pretending it's breaking new ground when it wasn't for anything. Like, sure, it maybe is a little bit more detective aspects than the Dark Knight, but I mean, Batman was like a terrible detective anyway, so it like almost didn't work. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with Batman though. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but like just don't act like you're the first one to do everything. Like, don't be on that high horse is all. That's all I should say. But just some of you guys saying, I have an idea. It should be a turf war style plot with Black Mass, the Penguin, and what's left of the Falcones fighting for territory. That kind of reminds me of No Man's Land a little bit. Kind of that aspect, I mean, and which was used in the Penguin. And the thing is, since that was used in the Penguin, that would be kind of, I mean, it could be on like the Batman level.
Yeah.
But which could be interesting rather than like TV level. It could be like cinematic Batman levels. But but yeah, I think I could always do more of the stories where Bruce was framed for a crime. Yeah, I would love to see Man-Bat as the villain. Like, because I think that would be a really interesting way to go with the story. Like, we finally have Batman not being this like demonic monster that he kind of was for like the past 2 years. And then he's like, no, I'm going to be a symbol of hope. And then Man-Bat comes in and taints that image. That would be really interesting. I think Mad Hatter could be really good, even though the Riddler in the first one was essentially the Riddler, but with Mad Hatter's personality. Like, kind of, or Hugo Strange, like they discover Batman's secret identity, and then like Bruce and Batman have to like work around that, and him discovering more about Bruce Wayne and like him like becoming that like proper character than just being Batman. So like honestly, like we have a horror movie director doing this. I'm surprised he didn't go into a more horror direction. No, should not be used at all. I think the only time they should use him as a Hannibal Lecter character, where Batman goes to him for advice, kind of what they did in the first movie, but they cut that out. Joker should not be used at all. I'm sick of the Joker. Like the Joker, he's a great character. He's the perfect role for Batman. Love to see him, but like
it's been done. There's other characters.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much. But I would love to see. I agree. I would love to see a live action Hugo Strange. Giancarlo Esposito, give him a call. And then I could see that, but the thing is, I think that would work better. I agree with that. However, it seems like they're going in that direction because it's like, oh, his parents were corrupt and like they were part of like a greater like kind of society type of thing. So yeah, and Joker, he's cool, but other characters we can focus on has overstayed his welcome. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Mr. Freeze done right. I would love to see Dollmaker as a newer villain. That could be really cool and interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever they decide to do, I think I'm curious. I'm not in love with every aspect, but obviously we'll see. Still, if Batman Part 2 is still happening, I would love to see that. So with all of that, that brings us to a close. Thanks for watching this episode of DCU Daily with Dan, who had to step out. Me and Bridget, lovely to see you all again. We try to do a little bit of a newer format with the comments on screen. I hope you guys liked that. But make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, click the bell because we don't know when we're going to go live, but we try our best, you know? But thank you for all your lovely comments. Enterprising, just some geeky guy, right dude, Antonio, Manos. I'm not going to name every person because I got to wrap this up quickly. But thank you all for watching. We love and appreciate you. And remember, be a golden biscuit today. I don't know what that means, but I tried. But see y'all later, everybody.